welcome back to For Teachers. Today you might notice that we are wearing blue, and there is a really special reason for that.
April is Autism Awareness Month, and this is something that schools are celebrating all across the world.
In our experience of working in schools so far, we've had the fortune of working with children that have lots of different personalities, and we have experience of working with children that have autism. If you aren't familiar with what the autistic spectrum is, we've included a link down below that takes you onto a website that has loads of amazing information all about autism.
Because autism is a spectrum, it's one of those things that not all of our tips are going to apply to the children in your class, but hopefully you'll find some common ground and some great ideas in this video.
Without further ado, we'll get on to our first tip.
So tip number one is about relationships, and relationships really are key. They're your key strength within the classroom with all your children. If you know during transition time that there's someone on the autistic spectrum coming into your class, it's really important to start the groundwork early on and build that relationship.
We would recommend spending time with that child, finding out what they like, dislike, what they find comfortable, what makes them uncomfortable in a difficult situation. As soon as you learn that, you can start to prevent situations from arising that might make that child feel uncomfortable.
Children with autism, they do often find it's quite difficult to trust and to build that relationship with, so a lot of the work is on you to do that. So for tip number two, it's all about structure and routine. Now, as we said, people on the autistic spectrum are all different, so they might respond in different ways to different stimulus.
Yep.
But having structure is one of the key things that really helps to calm a lot of children.
If you've ever considered having a visual timetable in your class, I would always recommend having that on display each morning. But the problem with being a teacher is sometimes you do have to go off on tangents, sometimes there might be a fire drill, and that's why it's really important to talk with your autistic children about the timetable. Maybe let them physically move the pictures around, and if you find out that you've got a speaker coming in or something that you've forgotten about, explain there's going to be a change of routine. Let's work on it together. Let's get your timetable out and change these pictures around when there's a change in routine. It is helpful to know about it, even as a teacher.
Yeah. A lot of people who don't understand autism, they see autistic children as inflexible and rigid in their thought processes, and they can sometimes kind of feel like they've hit a barrier and they think, why is this child reacting in this way, or refusing, or why is this such a trigger, and they don't understand that a meltdown might be caused by something that is something very slight.
If you would like an example of a visual timetable to use in your classroom, please check the link below, because there's some really good ones available on Twinkle that we've used in the past and downloaded and printed and laminated, and it's worked really effectively with the children in our care. Tip number three, we're going to offer you a toolkit of ideas that you might be able to use.
When you look at a wiggle seat, you might see it's really bumpy and you think, how is anyone ever going to sit on that? For children who find it hard to sit still, it really helps them because it centers them a little bit, it helps them feel a little bit more balanced, and that's really what you want. So whether it's in the classroom or in assembly, if they've got that seat.
Noise cancellation headphones. It allows them to focus on what the teacher is saying.
Particularly in Hong Kong, I'm always aware of the aircon and background noises like ticking clocks you don't always notice. Children with autism, it can be something that is, their senses are heightened or their senses are kind of hardwired in a different way, and for them, those kind of things can really distract them, can really irritate them. So noise cancelling headphones, we've found in the past they work really well.
Sometimes for autistic children, they might have a lot of sensory needs, so they love to hold hands or touch. Sometimes they don't want to hold hands or touch anything at all. They can be completely on the other side. I have heard of people using weighted blankets while the children are sat maybe on the carpet, and they have it on their laps, and it just makes them feel a little bit calmer, like a little bit more secure, and hopefully they can access the lesson a little bit better because they have that feeling of security.
I think fidget spinners have been huge over the last few years. I'm not sure they're the best thing to deal with
It's hard.
They are quite distracting for a lot of other children who then want to fiddle with those. Putty and squishy balls and stress balls are really great. Something that they can just hold and it helps them focus a little.
Where are you on the fidget spinner debate? Let us know in the comments. Also, it might be worth checking out Sesame Street. I know that they've recently introduced their first autistic character, which is a puppet called Julia. She's just like the other characters, the other puppets on Sesame Street. She plays, she enjoys, she has a lovely time, but the other characters are really sensitive to her needs and they include her in the games when she wants to be there. And maybe if you could show something like that to your class, and they will start to get their heads around how autism can affect a child.
When I've shown the video in the past to my class, children often say, I have got coping strategies. I do this when I'm sad, or I cover my hands over my ears when I'm feeling anxious. It's really nice to start that conversation with your kids and say, actually, we're all feeling a little bit like this. It's just that certain people might be feeling that they want to take it up to to the next level.
That brings us nicely on to tip number 4, which is raising awareness.
If there's someone new coming into your class, perhaps a class speaker or a visitor, perhaps you want to show them a photo of the person who's coming in, helping them so they can pronounce their name.
Yeah. Okay, on Tuesday we have a student teacher coming in. She's going to be teaching some lessons with you. Before she comes in, here's a photograph of her. If possible, try to arrange a meeting so that child can talk to this student before they come into class, because any changes like this can really be triggers for children. All children, like we say, not just autistic children.
The sooner you can explain things to children, the more they have time to adjust their expectations. So that's something that we can really start to push with all our kids. Okay, and for tip number 5 is to stop generalizing. So we've done this in our video. We've tried to say things that are generic about all people with autism, and it's just not true of everybody. It's not always going to be the case. So everybody is unique. Each child might approach this in a different way. So it's about being kind and being sensitive, and not just presuming that, oh, I had an autistic child in my previous class.
Oh, I know what it's like.
Exactly the same routine. Everybody's going to react differently.
So please leave a comment below and let us know if you've ever worked with an autistic child, and if you've got any tips and tricks that our community might appreciate. Please don't forget to hit our subscribe button. See you now.
Light it up blue. We are for teachers.
Bye.